Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back from Memorial Day weekend. I hope everyone had a super duper fun time. You guys know I had a super fun time. I was here with you the whole time, which is a super fun time, right? Cool. So let's see. Couple of things today. So our first webinar will be at 1 o'clock. And again, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are now hosting a 1 o'clock webinar to go ahead and invite newcomers into Rhino, right? So a lot of the outreach we do, whether it be email marketing or word of mouth or someone kind of seeing our site here and there, that's all great. But we never really do like marketing webinars. Like we're always here together every day. Like we talk every morning. But for those that are new to Rhino that kind of want that elevator pitch per se, but maybe not 60 seconds, but like 20 minutes. Okay, tell me what's going on there. Give me your best 20 minutes and do it concise and put it in clear format and let me ask questions. And if it piques my interest, I'll join. We've never done that. And I just think that's quite important. Like I see a lot of other marketers, they always do webinars. In fact, one of the gentlemen I used to work with constantly does a webinar a week, and it's like, the numbers he does is really fantastic. So, you know what? Let's go into that. Now, I don't suspect that today's webinar is going to be the best, because like anything else, regardless of how great or how much you prepare to do something, to go ahead and say that it will not get better with practice is just wrong. Like it's unambiguously, objectively wrong. Hey, Terry. Therefore, do I believe that tomorrow's webinar will be better than today's? Do I believe Thursday's webinar will be better than tomorrow's? Do I believe the webinar 2-3 weeks from now will be better than the one today? Yeah, of course I do. But it's only as a consequence of the practice starting today. So that being said, it's one of those things where it's like, and I find a lot of times people are very nervous to start things because they think it needs to be perfect. Oh, it's not perfect yet. I need to practice. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's only perfect after you do it a bunch of times. And even then it's not perfect, but it's always going to get better because there is nothing in life that you get worse at by practicing. It sounds like a silly sentence, but it's a really big sentence. There is nothing in life you will ever get worse at as an effect of practicing it. It just, you can't practice something and get worse at it. So the presentation we'll be doing today, I'm actually not even done with. I was spending a lot of time on it yesterday and pretty much did the outline, but there's still a lot I need to do. I probably have 2 or 3 hours more to go, in which case the webinar starts at 1, which means I have 3 hours starting from right now. So I do want to be fairly brief because I do need to get that stuff done. Also, I want to kind of maybe do another email, see if we get more people on it, or maybe I'll leave it. So as of now, we have 137 registered to participate. Do I think 137 will show? I don't know. Probably closer to 100, but that's good. Also, the other thing that is bothering, I guess it is bothering me a little bit. So with Zoom, because we set it up as a recurring webinar, it's going to go ahead and remind people every single day that the webinar is starting, like the webinars we have every morning. But this isn't that type of webinar. This is not like it's not a webinar that one has to participate in every single day. There's nothing new that's going to be shared. Well, I guess there'll be some, but it'll be relatively the same presentation because I'm going to have a presentation I'm going to go off of. So I do need to find a way to, and in Zoom you could click out of that, right? Like you could go ahead and unclick to be reminded an hour before the presentation. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, we want people to be reminded. If you register, we want to remind you. So I gotta see how to work around that. I wish, and maybe Zoom does have it, a simple option like remind people once, right? Like don't remind them every day, remind them once, which sounds like that would make sense. So I gotta take a look. I'm not gonna be looking at that today. I'll be looking at that, well, I guess later today, but not anytime soon. 80%, Deb, 80% show up. I'll be quite a happy boy, quite a happy Rhino, right? Okay, so that's that. Rhino bot, I'm just kind of at my wit's end with that. So I'm speaking to that department today at 3 o'clock, and I promise you that it's going to be a Rhino Anthony that you have not seen, and you're still not going to see because that's going to be a private conversation. Private in the sense that the contents of it, but for me to share with you that that conversation is going to be, okay, guys, enough. Enough is enough. Like, what's going on? That's happening today. Because rightly or wrongly, I still believe that I could probably figure it out and make it within like 2 or 3 days. And I know that sounds crazy, right? Like, because we have a really, really skilled department that's been working on it for 7 weeks, conceivably like 280 hours at a very high rate per hour. And if they are still having problems with it, for me to say that I have no experience with it and I can figure out in 3 days is a really big sentence. But although I don't have the specific facts to back that up, I have the experience in life that there's never been anything that I couldn't go ahead and figure out in 3 days if I really needed to. So maybe this will be the first thing I can't, right? I don't know. But I know it hasn't happened yet. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a conversation from that point of view, which might be completely unfair to everyone involved with it, because I might be completely talking from a perspective that that's not true. But the problem is, for them, it might not be true, but it's true to me until it's not true to me. So we'll see where that goes. So that's today at 3 o'clock. Rhino Bucks, we're back at 240, I think 239.5. Liquidity is a couple of hundred from all-time high. I think it's at like 115,300. I think the all-time high was almost 116,000. So we're right there, right? And what's really cool about that is the last 2 days we haven't purchased anything. I think we purchased very, very little because Stripe held the funds due to the holiday. So that means Rhino Bucks held itself up without us having to support it. And by me saying us support it, it's not like I'm over there propping it. The money that goes into it's not from my pocket, it's from Rhino collectively. And when I say not from my pocket, because I don't have any money in my pockets, like my pocket is Rhino. So it's not like we call our investment bank and we're like, hey, Rhino Bucks needs a little prop right now. Send over 10,000 so we could really prop it up. That doesn't happen. All the money that goes into Rhino Bucks is from the community. But if I was unable to collect those funds for 2 days and Rhino Bucks still held itself up, that's really good. I was really happy to see the 50 coin a day person, I think, has like 100 left. And that makes me laugh. It just does. It makes me very happy. So so that should be done any day now, I guess within 2 days. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else do we have? I did not finish the ledger yet today. I just started working on it. That'll be completed. I believe we're probably at a new all-time high in members. I can't confirm that just yet. I hope that to be the case by the end of today, because again, we're having a webinar to invite new people onto it. So it would behoove us that that should be true by the end of the day. Rhino Wealth, for those that are not in it, a lot of good things are happening. Let me go ahead and just put that in the chat. rhinowealth.us. So for those that don't know, Rhino Wealth is a stock option trading platform. Free 14-day free trial and then $5 a week thereafter. The reason why I'm putting it in today is not that how do I phrase this? 20 red and green is not something anybody knows because that's our algorithm, like I coded it. What you would know of it is 20 red and green is a signaling point. I don't know what 20 red and green means, but when it happens, this is when we get involved. Right now, I think we have like 3 or 4 different 18 and 19 red and greens, meaning by tomorrow or the day after, we will have a 20 red and green by all likelihood. The point being, when you have a 20 red and green, that's the opportunities that we do wait a month and a half for to go ahead and purchase and really put our money in. Because 91% of the time, we make a profit, which is really good. And I believe it's 57% of the 91% of the time, the profit is 40% or higher. So that's really strong numbers. Meaning I completely am, I'm completely expecting to make a stock market profit in the next couple of days. How much it'll be, I have no idea. Rhino is not like flushed with cash where I go ahead and just put things anywhere. So we buy like maybe one or two contracts. So we might make $20 or $30, but the amount doesn't matter. It's the percentage that matters, because those that are participants in Rhino Wealth will go ahead and say maybe they buy 1,000 worth or 10,000 worth or 20,000 worth, and 20% of 20,000 is $44,000. So for someone such as, that's buying that much stock, and again, they're buying it themselves. They don't buy it through us. We're just a research firm. For them to make $4,000 over the course of the week, they're happy to do. So I share that with you because in the next day or two, that will be a reality, hopefully. But we will be buying something. What else do we have? Two things. So I'm still taking a look at when we were talking about sharing recommendations via the email for some type of service. And I haven't pulled the trigger on that because it's just like our emails are still kind of, they have a sanctity to them. I don't really like involving anyone else in it. As a business, right? If somebody said, hey, Ant, listen, I just started something, check it out. If you approve of it, can you just go ahead and share an email about it? Yeah, of course. I'll do that all the time. No one ever asked me, but I would do it. But for someone to do it as a business, I haven't really brought myself to it yet. The point of me saying that is I have thought of something else. So our Twitter stuff is getting much better. We shut it off sometimes just because we just tweet so much. So we are losing followers. I think we lost like 150 followers because we're just tweeting a lot. But in terms of the tweets, they're really good. We do get likes, and it does look like of the 140 people that signed up for the webinar, I would say about 30 to 45 of them are probably from Twitter, which is pretty cool. Now, putting Twitter aside, what is it that we're actually able to do? So we're able to identify the industry leader in any particular niche, right? So for instance, where Rhino Bucks is a crypto, therefore people that are leading in the industry of crypto, their followers are very well versed in crypto. Therefore, if you could go ahead and contact one of the people that just started following them, you would know that that individual is well versed in what you're offering. Now, of course, you have to do the rest of it, but to know that the individual, you speak English and the individual speaks English, that's a pretty good thing. What we're able to do is the second the individual goes ahead and follows an industry leader, we're able to go ahead and tweet a very personalized message directly to them with the call to action. Hey, hey, John, we go ahead and take a look at their last tweet and take that and summarize it as a value proposition for them to go ahead and get into the webinar. So if their last tweet was like, I love ham sandwiches, hey, John, we love ham sandwiches too. What a coincidence. You should really join us in our special event today. It'll be all about ham sandwiches. Now, how many of them join? That's, not a whole lot. But in terms of lead generation, I think with a little bit more improvement, it's probably at the top. I'm not sure you could get a better lead per se for a cheaper amount. So we do it with Twitter, but you could do it with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. You could do it all across the whole spectrum. And you could go ahead and do the call to actions as like a lead magnet where the individual's not exactly joining something, but they're opting into something and they give you their email address and blah, blah, blah. In which case you could go ahead and create the integrations and automations to email the individual as well, because you could stack them together. The point that I'm getting at is I was thinking to myself, that could be a really great Rhino offering. If we did a whole Rhino media, right? Where any individual, the offering Rhino to any individual is, we can go ahead and build an automation for your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. In which case, when an individual goes ahead and clicks the opt-in, They'll receive an email sequence that will push them to this or whatever the case may be. Like we could build that out. But the point being for any company to have their marketing automated, just automated and done for them is a really big value, especially if it's not a paid marketing, right? Like they're not paying $1,000 a day to run ads. In fact, Rhino could just do that for them. Not ads, but our integrations. Because we have the AI and we have all the rest for it. The point I'm getting at is Zapier allows us, right now we're doing 50,000 zaps a month, but we're allowed to go up to like an enterprise level where we can have an infinite amount and just pay as we go. What's cool about that is when you're doing Twitter or Facebook or ChatGPT, like the AI or any of it, Zapier doesn't require that you have a standard login. Effectively, you can run it as an agency. So I can go ahead and run automations to Brian's Facebook using Brian's logins, but I can also run automations to Abdul's Facebook using Abdul's logins simultaneously. Zapier is able to log into all of them simultaneously and collect the triggers that allow the automations to run. So effectively, we can create an agency where we could take on 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 different clients. And what's even cooler about that is everything that we're talking about can be templated out. So for instance, if we go ahead and create a super duper Twitter program, which we're going to because we're doing it for ourselves, we don't need to create another super duper Twitter program. We can go ahead and clone that and just use your logins instead of our logins. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with Instagram. So effectively, if you're able to create something really, really great, you only need to do it once, and then you could offer it to everyone. In which case, what would it cost us to offer that out? Well, nothing. I mean, of course, our zaps are 50,000 a month, and our AI has certain limits. Like as you use it, you're incurring costs, but those costs are fairly minimal. They're not like really, really high. And of course, we could always raise our plans up if we have to. What would that bring in, though? Well, again, in Rhino fashion, we don't really ever charge anyone hundreds of dollars for anything. Could we charge $5 a week, $10 a week? Which I know you're thinking, Anthony, everything you just described is worth more than $10 a week. I get that. But it's just never going to be our business model to go ahead and squeeze people. I don't want to do it. I just want everyone to participate in what we're doing. So can I do that $10 a week? I don't see why not. In fact, those $10 a week, our cost on that $10, I would say, is probably going to be $3, maybe $2 or $3, depending on how much usage, which means we'll profit 70%, and that would just go right to Rhino Bucks. And not that I think that amount is going to make a difference in Rhino Bucks, but the amount of plans will continue to grow. And do I think that individual will go ahead and be a Rhino plan member? Yeah, I do. And what if that individual is a $20 a week member? Well, now it all made sense, right? So that is something I'm thinking about as well. And in place of that Rhino email thing. And what I said last week when I originally introduced the Rhino email thing was our meetings in the morning is a sounding board for me. I talk without a filter because it allows me to think and it allows me to encourage advice. And I've spoken to many people who have given me their opinion and their advice, and it allows the idea to mature. Now, whether that maturity ends up with it being an idea that we launch or an idea that simply, wasn't something we want to move on is a different story. And obviously, this looks like an idea we're not going to move on. But I do appreciate that. I feel like in other worlds, nobody would ever actually say exactly what's on their mind without testing it because they don't want to scare people. And I'm sure there's probably a part of that at some point where it's like, oh my God, Anthony said this. But now I think we all kind of matured to the sense where it's like, no, we're just thinking out loud. So we are going to look at the Rhino Media thing. I'm hopeful to have it by the end of the week. Time is just, I don't really have much time to begin with, and now we're doing webinars every day. So timing is a fickle little thing. Well, not fickle, but it's scarce. All right, let me run. Love. That wasn't me blowing a kiss. That was me covering my mouth because I don't know. All right, so let me run. We'll hopefully the 1 o'clock today is successful. I can promise you that tomorrow will be better than today's. And I can promise you it's going to be better than the one we did like 2, 3 months ago with that AI, because I'm actually going to be talking. That one was atrocious. But okay, cool. Let me go. Love everyone. I will see you later. Bye.